Good Sunday morning. It's still a little cool out. It's still spring. But it feels more lamb-like than lion-like today. So I'm hopeful that those April showers are going to bring Mayflowers on time and we could plant something before Memorial Day. On your sheet today, and we've got a lot to get to today, try and get through this. There's a question at the top. How can our loved ones be saved? I want you to think about that for a minute while I go through a couple announcements, but I really want you to think about this. How can our loved ones be saved? Because this matters. Next week, there's a bit of a change in the schedule because of Easter. And like last year, they're going to have a bit of time of refreshment between the Sunday morning Bible study and the Sunday morning worship and service. And so because of that, the lesson will be shorter, and you'll have some time to go out and hang out and get some refreshment and fellowship one with another. And so I just want to remind you that if you're planning on bringing guests, make sure they come a little early. Even if they don't come to the Sunday school, if they're not ready for that level of commitment, that's fine. But if you're bringing guests, make sure you bring them a little early so that they are here in time for that fellowship and refreshment. That's a really good thing to celebrate with your brethren on Easter. So, shorter lesson, longer time of fellowship, some goodies out there next week. Today is Palm Sunday. I don't know if you guys knew that. This is the day we traditionally celebrate. Now, is it the actual anniversary date of Palm Sunday? I don't know if it matters. But they did wave palms as Jesus triumphantly rode into Jerusalem. And so this is the week. I mean, this is like we preparing ourselves. And I know we live the resurrection and the life. The tomb is empty and has been empty, but our hearts have been filled. And I know we live that. That's who we are. But not everybody does. And so this week, I think we should do our best to anticipate miracles and miraculous goings-on for Easter. I think we can love people this week in a way that shows them who God is. And so I think you should, along with me, anticipate what God's going to do this whole week, but particularly next Sunday. I mean, yes, goodies are nice and fellowship is great, but miracles are waiting today and tomorrow and every day this week up until Sunday, and that could just be the start of somebody's miracle. So I just want you to anticipate. And that leads right into today's lesson. Today's lesson, the great escape, is expansion. God went to prepare a place. When he left, he said, I'm going to prepare a place for you. And I tend to think that some people thought he was coming back immediately, like within 20, 30 years or 100 years, but it's been thousands of years. And if God went to prepare a place for us, and he's been working on it for 1,000 years, it sounds like a pretty great place. And the best part about it is that we have this opportunity to be a part of it. The expansion. And so today we're going to be talking about how that expansion incorporates us. All right, to get started, do a quick review, and I won't take long on this at all, I promise. We've gone through this many times. If you haven't seen it, I'll go through it real briefly for you, but we have da'at, epinosis, this deep relationship knowledge from God. It's the same word that used with Adam and Eve before they had a child. Adam knew Eve and then they had a baby. We are supposed to know God that same way. We're supposed to have a deep relationship, experience with God. That's where that knowledge comes from. Corruption is out there, and it's in us, and it's from our sin, and it's internal rot. Diligent is the way that Peter says we're supposed to tackle these things, which means urgent effort, not half-heartedly. We're supposed to add, we're supposed to furnish. If you're one of those Jeep people, you might have some fuzzy dice and the ducks, right? You've furnished your Jeep. If you, like me, were one of those 80s kids, you might have had like the thought, well, I need to bling out my bike. I need the little clackers and some chrome, maybe some pieces and some pegs on the side so your friend can ride with. Like you wanted to like make your bike really nice. We did those things. And maybe you grew up in the 90s with your Canon jeans, your baggy shirts, your Jordashes, whatever it might have been. Like you wanted to be cool. And so we oftentimes decorate things, add to things, and so this is the same add. Your faith needs some adding. And so faith is that persuasion of God, and we're going to add first virtue, which is that excellence, an example of excellence. We're going to add knowledge, the knowledge of God, and being in that relationship with Him, learning more about Him. Self-control, mastery of the inner self, which was like the ear. We're listening for that roaring lion. We don't want him to come in and try and steal from us, harm us. And so we're attentive and listening for him, controlling ourselves, not letting ourselves get out of hand. Perseverance, where you use your hands to hold on. Things get tough, and so you hold on. You trust God, and He's there with you. We got to godliness a couple weeks ago, where we love the things God loves, and we proclaim them with our mouth, and our actions are supposed to match it. The two match up perfectly in godliness. Last week we did brotherly kindness, which was the heart. You're supposed to feel brotherly kindness. You're supposed to love your brother and your sister who sit in the pews with you. You're supposed to love your brother and sister who have fallen away from the pews with you. These are good things. You're supposed to feel this one. But the love that Peter ends with, the one we're focused on today, the last of these things we add to our faith, we furnish our faith with, is love, and it's a spiritual thing. It's not a feeling thing. In fact, it can't be a feeling thing, or it might not get done. It might get passed over. Got a couple quick quotes for you. The measure of love is to love without measure, according to Augustine. He says that if you really want to measure love, it's to love without measure. Some people like to use the word unconditional. I don't actually like that word myself. The Bible doesn't use that word, and a lot of other people do, but I don't like it myself because there's always love with conditions. But we'll talk about that today. But he says the measure of love, you really want to see how much you love somebody, is to love without measuring. Right? We talked about that last week with Peter, and he asked the Lord, how often should I forgive? And God said, you can't measure that. Stop trying to measure the forgiveness you're supposed to give your brother. It's not a good idea. So that's what we talked about last week. Love here, where there is great love, there is always miracles. Ananias, you love your wife, and there's a beautiful little miracle running around at your house because there was great love there. You can love your neighbor, and they appreciate you in your friendship. And you can love your God, and He always rewards faithfulness. And so, great love and miracles go together. Our favorite stories in all of life revolve around great love. Whether that was a grandparent to a grandchild, a mother to a daughter, a friend to a friend, a Jonathan and David kind of story, we love love stories for good reason. Now, Peter's going to tell us we have to add to brotherly kindness love. It's the last step. In this focus verse, he says you need to add to your faith virtue, and to virtue knowledge. We add consecutively. First we get some virtue, and then we add to that knowledge. Then we add to our knowledge self-control, and so forth. We keep going and going until brotherly kindness is supposed to lead us into love. But there's nothing after that. There's no to love something. This is it. This is the final step. This is the last piece of the puzzle that we're supposed to have. And so to get to this last little bit, I asked you to think about how can our loved ones be saved? And I wonder if you have an answer for me. How can our loved ones go to heaven? Dennis? They need to know Him. Did you need to know Him? So, same, they need to know Him, you need to know Him. Good. Well, how else do we get to go to heaven? We need some new birth experience, right? The Bible tells us that there's this new birth, and Jesus says you must be born again. Jesus said that, not me. I'm just quoting him. He said you must be born again. If that's the case, then there's some new birth there. And if our loved ones are born again, they can go to heaven if you're born again. So again, it's the same. Like, the rules still apply. The methods haven't changed. If you're going to heaven, how will your loved ones go to heaven? The same way. But can anyone in this room right now think back to when they were starting to know God and coming to know the Lord? And can you think of a time when you did it on your own? It was just you. Now, chances are, if you're like me, somebody like Barb Deline was praying for you. Somebody like Al Barbet came up and encouraged you at the altar. Somebody like Pastor Taylor made sure I knew what baptism really was about. Somebody like Steve Rassenden sat me down and taught me the Bible study. Right? Somebody like Roy and Twyla Sundin invited me over to their house for fellowship. Like, chances are, if you're like me, yes, there's some things you have to do for yourself. We've talked about those. But at some point, love from God through other people had to show up. There's no way around it as far as I can tell. And I love that Larry and Kathy invited the youth out to their house. I love that Don and Bill used to live down on 5th Street and that we would go over there after service sometimes. Right? I love those times. I love going over to Brother Merrick's house and sitting on the floor, right? And having food just carted out. Because he wanted to make sure everybody was taken care of. I love those times. I love going to the Remingtons and sitting in their living room and the dogs are everywhere. You try not to step on them. Those are good times. I loved going to Pete's cabin or to Samrock's cabin, even recently. Like, I remember these times where I got to go places and spend time in fellowship and do things with people. I remember playing football almost every Sunday when it was nice enough. Jeremy, you were there. It was a good time. And we loved on each other. And yes, we tried to hit each other hard sometimes, but we loved each other. We hit each other out of love. You see, love has to be part of all this. And it gets to this idea, there's a circle here. You see, the faith is why we're in this. And the knowledge is what we're supposed to know about this. And self-control is how we're supposed to behave. And perseverance is when we have to stick with it. Godliness was where things had to be done with careful attention. You had to do the things the boss expected. Brotherly kindness was with whom? It's who you work with. But then we come back to love, and it's why again. Well, why did God want us as part of this building anyway? Why are we part of this great temple for the Holy Spirit? It's not to sit here and look pretty. I'm glad you're all here. I'm glad you all look pretty. Liam, you look all spiffed out today. But that's not why God did all this for you, why he wants you to take these steps. There's something more with this, and that's this love we're talking about. In 1 John 4, beloved, this is usually what we say when we mean love. If I say, I love Larry, or something like that, I'm not saying that I am actually doing something for Larry. I'm saying that Larry probably has done something for me. I love my grandmother. Now, she died, so I loved my grandmother, I guess you could say, but I still love her. I still feel the love that she shared with me all those years ago. Even though she's been gone for nearly 20 years, I still feel that love. I still carry that love. That's what it means to be beloved, right? Beloved. Somebody loved on you. So John says, beloved, let us love, let us agape, let us love one another. For love is of God, and everyone who loves is born of God. They're born again. If you really love God, you will be born again because that's what he wants for you. He wants to give you good gifts. In fact, he knows you need those gifts. And if you're going to do the same things he's doing, and knows God, they come to know God through that relationship. He who does not love does not know God. John is making it very clear. If you're not loving on people, you don't know God like you should. That's just what it is. In this, the love of God was manifested towards us, is made known. It is made tangible. It's physical in some ways. It is presented to us. It is persuading us through faith. It's manifested that God sent his only begotten Son into the world. So number one, we see that God is in fact love, and that God sent his only begotten. The word only begotten here is one and only. That's what it translates in the Greek. It's one and only. Some people believe Jesus didn't have any siblings, and I don't necessarily believe that myself, but even if you want to say they're cousins, fine, it doesn't really matter. Only one of those children of Mary was the Son of God. The Lord only has one fleshly son, one representation of himself presented to us, that the world might live through him. In this is love, not that we loved God. It's not that we loved God, but that he loved us and sent his Son to be the propitiation, P-R-O-P-I-T-A-I-T-I-O-N, propitiation, the sacrificial payment, the debt payment that we owed. He was that debt payment for us. Beloved, if God so loved us, we also ought to love one another. No one has seen God at any time, it says. If we love one another, God abides in us. We're going to see this as a repeating word here, word choice. And his love has been perfected in us. This is what Peter's talking about, that perfection of love. In 2 Peter, when he's talking about these steps, add, this is the perfecting, right? It's meant to make you perfect or whole. By this we know that we abide in him, and he in us, because he has given us his Spirit. So the Spirit is what we have. He gave us his Spirit. Why do we need his Spirit? Well, we do, and there's a good reason for it. And we have seen and testified that the Father has sent the Son as a Savior of the world. Whoever confesses, if you'll acknowledge, if you'll say it out loud, if you'll believe it in your own heart, that Jesus is the Son of God, God abides in him. So we see abide again. Love and abide. Confess, abide. And he in God. If you can't tell me that Jesus is the Lord, I don't consider you a brethren. I'm not trying to be mean to you, I just wouldn't. Because you're not abiding in him. And we have known and believed the love that God has for us. God is love, he repeats. And he who abides in love abides in God and God in him. This abide, this word means to remain. And it goes both directions. God's love through the Spirit abides in me, and I abide in the building he is making, the church. When your pastor tells you, you got to get to church, he's not saying you got to come to the building, although that's usually where we hang out as a church. We paid for this beautiful building. We ought to use the beautiful building. But when he says you got to go to church, he's not saying you need to go to the building and like sit and warm a pew. He's saying you need to abide in love with these folks. And by doing that, God has promised to abide in us. 2 or 3 are gathered in his name, there he will be in the midst of them. When your life has fallen apart, you don't go to the bar. There's nothing there to fix your life. You don't go hide in your cellar away from people. You don't sneak into the garage and just lock the door and just try to tune out the world. There's no answer for you in the garage, even if your garage is great. It's in the church. And so this is abiding here. These are important things for us to pay attention to. The word love is the word agape in the Greek. And again, a lot of people like to say unconditional love. If you like to use that word, I will let you. I won't bother me a bit. But it means charity, love, or goodwill. And if I love Lori with agape, that doesn't benefit me at all. If I jump-started Lori's car, I don't need a jump. If I went to Barb's house and helped her collect her mail or something for a week, because they're out of town or something, I don't need Barb to swing by my house. I'm already there. It's charity. If I go volunteer at the soup kitchen or collect some food goods to donate, if I give it an offering for children's ministries or Christmas for Christ or something, I don't need that back. It's charity. It's goodwill. I'm hoping to help someone else out. Now, we like favors, don't get me wrong. We like favors. We like to get a solid. We like to give a solid. Oh, you're gonna owe me some, huh? We like to think brownie points. I joke with my wife all the time. I've stacked up so many brownie points that she couldn't possibly pay them out at this point. As she disagrees with me. The idea is that, really, truly, real love is this charity, this goodwill. It's me trying to help you, or you trying to help someone else, or you trying to help me. And there's this unwritten expectation, oftentimes with us, well, we have to pay that back. But agape doesn't pay that back. So some people say unconditional because of that, but I still don't like the word. I think we are meant to show others regardless of rejection. Well, you have to love them even if they reject you? Go teach Sunday school. You'll find out real quick. Go work at a public school. You'll find out day one. They don't want you there. They hope you get sick and can't come back and the sub is awful and they can just goof off the whole time. I promise you. Or adversity. Things are going rough in your family. Well, you going to stop loving your kids because they're being lippy? Because they made some bad choices? Jeremy, would you do that? Do you stop loving your kids? No, you're going to rough them up a little bit. Tell them what's up. I know you. You're not going to put up with that. That adversity is not going to, you're still going to love them. To the point where even if they walked away, you would still love them. This type of love is not cornered. It's not pigeonholed. It's not something you have to it is centered in God's moral preference. It's what God wants, what God thinks is valuable. That's what real agape love is. It's doing things according to what God would have done. I know it's cliche, what would Jesus do? But there's some truth there. If you never think about what Jesus would have done in a circumstance, I'm not saying you know best because you're not the Lord, but if you never even consider what God would want done, is it really love? It's not in our feelings. I cannot let it be in my feelings because at some point somebody's going to step on my toes. At some point somebody's going to offend me. Somebody's going to get in my way. Somebody's going to cut me off. Somebody's going to ruffle my feathers. And if I wait until I feel better about loving them, I won't do it. I have family members, sadly, who are this way. They cannot get together for an Easter Day celebration. They can't get together for a meal. They can't sit and talk and eat food together. And if they do, this one's over here in the kitchen, and this one's over here in the living room, and this one's back here in the back room. This one has to go sit with the kids. They cannot sit together because of this. Now, I've heard some people say, well, you gotta love always, unconditionally. We have to be careful when we say this. Love always does seek the benefit of the other. When I love someone, it is not for me. Can it bless me? Yes. Is it for me? No. And so who does abuse benefit? Is there any love in abuse? None. Because no one benefits, it can't be agape. Is there love in chastisement? Well, yes, it benefits someone. Is there love and adultery, are we enriched through that behavior? No. And we can't be. What sin that you know of is a gain, a net positive in anyone's life? Envy, strife, envyings, lying. Where is the gain in any of those? You won't find it. Why does Jesus command us to love at all times then? If I'm in a relationship and I'm being abused, I just have to love that person. Yes, but Jesus makes it very clear in Matthew 10. Behold, I send you out as sheep amidst wolves. There are problems out there, and yes, you're going compliantly, but you are to be as wise as serpents. You don't hang around for abuse. You get out of town. Do you still love the abuser? I hope so. Is that tough to do? More than most of us could handle. Yes. But we are supposed to be harmless as doves. We don't fight back either. This is hard. If there was ever a hard thing to do, it is love. And that sounds crazy, but loving is the hardest thing on the planet. It's easy to hate. Anyone can dislike someone. But to love someone, especially when they're doing something they shouldn't be, Jesus tells us to be cautious. Beware of men. There are people out there trying to get you. They will deliver you up to councils and scourge you in their synagogues. You'll be brought before governors and kings for my sake. This is the only time God expects us to kind of deal with it. Larry, I don't think you'd ever do this, but if you were beating on your wife, she has every right to leave. But just like most martyrs, if you did it because she loved Jesus and you had fallen away, I'm not saying she should stick around, but Kathy would have to expect it a little bit. And there are times when people are martyred for this kind of stuff. And I don't think it's not fun, but it's not bad, because it says it's a testimony. I think a spouse who loves their spouse, who is not saved, is truly like Christ. I can't imagine a harder position to be in. If you're with someone who does not love God, and you do, and you give your everything to make that person understand or help them, you're just being like Jesus. And that's tough. When Joseph, who was sold into slavery by his brothers, confronted them, he was as harmless as a dove. He tested them first. He was cunning like the snake. But then he welcomed them back in. He forgave them, and he blessed them. Saul's chasing David. David's hiding out in the caves. David has to run and hide. He's not going to take abuse. He's not going to just let himself be killed. But he also would not kill God's anointed. This is real love. Haman comes against the Jews and is trying to kill them all. He puts a law, by political maneuvering, he gets this crazy law put in place. And Esther begs the king for help and reveals Haman's plot. And it reverses. The king steps in and takes the action, not Esther. Esther was in the party with Haman. She could have, right there. And there are times in the Judges they were actually asked to do that. Ehud and Eglon is a great example. Some things God says, no, do it this way. I'm telling you, this is my judgment. You execute it. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about when it's not given to you. You have to do it God's way. Jesus is beaten, tortured, crown of thorns, spit upon, beard pulled. They're gambling for his clothes. They're nailing him to a cross. And not once does he budge. He wouldn't even let Peter cut some guy's ear off, we talked about last week. Wouldn't let it happen. Paul persecuted the church, literally killed them. He stood by and held the coats while they stoned Stephen. As a spectator, oh no, I don't want you to get your coat bloody. Here, Sherry, let me have your coat. I'll just go ahead, grab those rocks. I'll just stand here and wait for you to be done. And he watched, and he thought this is the right thing. And one of the best messages I ever heard at camp meeting was when Brother Merritt got up and preached about how they were first called Christians in Antioch. They took Paul in. They trained him. They loved him, despite the fact that They missed family members at communion time. There were holes in their families. And Paul stood next to them. And they restored him. God restored him, but with their help and love. God's plans are not our plans. There's a reason for this. Jesus in John 15 says, "As the Father loved me, I have also loved you. Abide in my love. Remain in my love. Hang out in my love. Spend time here. Dwell here. Make it your abode, the place you live. If you keep my commandments, you will abide in my love. Just as I have kept my Father's commandments." We have a virtuous model. We have knowledge of these things now. We're supposed to live out these things now. Jesus abided in his Father's love. "These things I have spoken to you, that your joy may remain in you." If you lack joy, Jesus says, you are not abiding in his love. I didn't say this. Jesus says this. And the most joyful people you know are the most loving people you know. And that's the kind of person I want to be. And I hope you want to be that same person, that your joy may be full. This is my commandment, that you love one another as I have loved you. Greater love has no one than this, to lay down one's life for his friends. You are my friends if you do whatever I command you. God laid down his own life so that we could be his friend, that he would do this. But no longer do I call you servants, for a servant does not know what his master is doing. I have called you friends. For all the things I have heard of my Father I have made known to you. I shared it all. That virtue, that knowledge, that self-control he showed, that perseverance he put up with. He does all these things for us. You did not choose me. I persuaded you. That's how God looks at it. That you should go and bear fruit. There's a reason for all this. It comes back full circle. He pours into us, and he helps us improve so that we can pour back out. Your fruit should remain. You should be fruitful. Continue to be fruitful. Not just one time, not for a season, not that first 3 months when you're converted. Perpetually. You're meant to produce fruit. And whatever you ask in my name, that he may give you. There's some benefit to this. Don't get it wrong. God's going to give you the desires of your heart. As long as they match up with him, he's happy to give you, like a father would their child. These things I command you, that you love one another. It's not an option. And yes, the word here in red is agape, that you show charity, that you show goodwill, not with feeling. This is not because somebody loves me. Well, my dad loves me, I need to love him back. That's natural, and it's still good, but it's not what God's talking about. We have to love even if we don't feel it, even when we feel the opposite of it. You have to do it. In Romans 5, we see Paul telling us that for scarcely for a righteous man will one die. If you're awesome, somebody may die for you. It's possible. Perhaps for a good man, someone would even dare to die. The whole take the bullet for them, right? We could see that. But God demonstrates his own love towards us. He wanted to be friends with you so bad that even when you were worthless, even when you were dirty, rotten, filthy, corrupt, rotting from the inside, while we were yet sinners, not virtuous, ungodly, ignorant, not knowledgeable, unstable, not self-controlled, cowardly, not willing to endure, having no patience, wicked, not a drop of godliness there, uncharitable, not showing brotherly affection, hard-hearted, apathetic. Well, what if they Who cares? They'll figure it out. It's not hate that's the opposite of love. It's an absence of love. Just like the absence of God is not the devil. The absence of God in itself is evil. When God is gone, when love is removed, this is going to be a sad place to live. Christ died for us then, in the hope you would take him up on this offer, in the hope that you, like Peter, would go through these steps and grow and add to your faith to be something perfect. So we need to talk about who God loves, how he shows that love, how we're supposed to show that love, and who we should love ourselves. And if it isn't obvious yet, it should be pretty close. For God so loved the world, not the things of the world, the people. God loved everybody. That whoever believes in him should not perish. You can perish. Should is optional. You should have everlasting life. If you look at the Greek, it's actually worded that way. We shorten it up and put the should in front, and it applies to both. But it's should not perish and should have everlasting life. For God did not send his Son into the world to condemn the world. He didn't come to judge us. That's later. He came that the world through him might be saved. This is active. This is you making the effort. This is why there's action involved in virtue. This is why there's action involved in self-control. This is why there's action. It's not just a head thing. It's not just a heart thing. You do something because you might be saved. You have to work at it. It doesn't just come naturally. In Luke 6, but I say to you who hear, love your enemies. Do good to those who hate you. Bless those who curse you. Pray for those who spitefully use you. Can you of yourself do this? Maybe you think you can. I don't. I think without God, without God's example at least, you're not going to do this. I think you need that example. I think you need that excellence. I think you need some knowledge of God to pull off this kind of love. Now, maybe you got it from your parents. They showed you it. But they got it from somebody else who showed it to them. And it comes from God either way. He says to one who strikes you on the cheek, and again, we're not talking abuse. We're talking about like a Roman officer or somebody. Like they're abusing you for Christ's sake, right? Oh, you're one of those Christians? Worthless. And at that point, you count it all joy. Oh, you recognized. You see the Jesus in me? This one, please. Get it out of your system. Let them know, hey, if it's for Jesus, I'll take it. I've got reward on the other side. It's fine. If they take your cloak, hand over the tunic. Go above and beyond. Show them. No. You don't understand. You need this more than I do, apparently. By all means, have it. Give to everyone who asks of you, and from him who takes away your goods, do not ask them back. And just as you want men to do to you, you have to do to them likewise. It's about the other's benefit. But if you love those who love you, what credit is it to you? For even sinners love those who love them. And if you do good to those who do good to you, what credit is to you? Even sinners do the same. And if you lend to those who have hope to receive back, what credit is to you? For even sinners lend to sinners and receive as much back. But love your enemies. Do good and lend. The command still stands. My enemies aren't going to do good back. My enemies aren't going to return. Do it anyway. And we don't like this. Our flesh doesn't like this. Well, they cut me off. I'm going to drive up real fast on them. I'm going to show them. You better not. Well, they took that from me. We teach our kids this. You got to share. It's okay. When they're done with it, they'll leave it there. They'll get bored, and you can have it back. And if not, I'll get you a new one. It's fine. We teach our kids to understand and put up with bullies and problem situations. If you hope for nothing in return when you lend, your reward will be great. and you will be the sons of the Most High, for he is kind to the unfaithful and the evil. Therefore be merciful as God was merciful to you. In Romans 12, the bottom of our page, 6 and 7, bless those who persecute you. Bless and do not curse. Rejoice with those who rejoice. Weep with those who weep. These are loving acts. Am I sad? Doesn't matter. Get with the program. They're going through it. You can go through it with them. But they're having a great time. I didn't get anything. I don't care. If they got a new blessing in a vehicle or a home, rejoice with them. Offer to go for a ride with them. Go over to their house and help them paint. Celebrate. Open it up for them. Do what you can. Be of the same mind toward one another. Do not set your mind on high things. Well, I got to get that. I got to get that bank. I got to grind. No, you don't. You can, but you don't need to. Chances are you probably have enough now. We live in America, the richest nation on the planet. Do not set your mind on these high things. Associate with the humble. Well, but they're different. Like you're better. I've met you guys. You're all different. I'm not an exception. Don't get me wrong. I'm very different. I get it. But don't discount them. Do not be wise in your own opinion, especially for your brethren. God loved and chose them. You have no right. Repay no one evil for evil. Have regard for the good things in the sight of all men. If it is possible, as much as depends on you, live peaceably with all men. Again, not abuse. You can't live peaceably in abuse. Excessive drug use, neglect, we're not talking about that. But if you can, well, my mom's a little crass. Deal with it. The guys on the job are a little obnoxious. Deal with it. Live peaceably with all men. It doesn't mean you can't make your voice heard. It doesn't mean you shouldn't tell them there's a better way. You can. Sometimes you deal with some stuff. Beloved, those of you who I love, do not avenge yourselves. Neither give place to wrath, for it is written, vengeance is mine, I will repay. God always pays out. If you love and expect nothing, God pays out. If you let them soak in their own corruption and they attack you with it, God pays out. And that's way scarier. You don't have to worry about it. God will take care of it. Therefore, if your enemy is hungry, feed him. If your enemy is thirsty, give him a drink. You will heap coals of fire upon their heads. This is a Jewish phrase, which means you will bring shame to them, which should cause repentance. When you love your enemy, you give them their best shot at changing. Do not be overcome by evil. Do not give in. Do not let it bother you. It's coming if it's not already there. Overcome evil with good. Love always means doing what's best for the other person. And what is best for all people is to know Jesus. If anything you do, you should try to love them so that they can know Jesus. Just like somebody did for you when you were good for nothing at the altar. When you were wallowing in your own pity parties. Somebody had to love you. You have to do the same thing back. We default to reflecting the nastiness or the favors. Let God give you those things. That's what real love is going to allow. Don't worry about it. God will take care of you. He always has. He always will. In John 21, with Peter talking about this kind of stuff, what is he learning? You guys may have heard this before, this little story. After Jesus is resurrected, he's visiting and he shows up to the disciples for the third time. And he pulls Peter aside after they were fishing and he caught this great draught of fish. And he knew it was the Lord and he came and they had some breakfast. And he says, Peter, do you agape me? Do you show goodwill toward me? Do you show charity? More than these. And he said, Lord, you know I phileo you. You know you're my brother. You know I love you. And he said, feed my lambs. Peter's like, what? He said to him again a second time, Simon, son of Jonah, do you agape me? Do you love me the way my Father loves me? And he said, yes, Lord, you know I phileo you. I love you like a brother, like we have the same Father. And he said to him, tend my sheep. And the third time, Peter denies 3 times, Jesus confirms 3 times. 1 for each denial. Simon, son of Jonah, do you phileo me? Do you love me like a brother? And Peter's grieved because he said him the 3rd time, do you phileo me? Like, God, you know I love you. You know all things. Like, literally understand, like, conceptualize everything. You know it all. Omniscient. You relationally know I love you. And Jesus said, feed my sheep. You don't love anyone until you obey that command. Your kids don't really love you until they listen to you. They're loved by you. They can say, I love you, meaning they feel love from you, but they don't really love you until they start to listen. He goes on to talk about how Peter girded himself. He took care of his own business when he was younger, and as he got older, he makes a prophecy. He says, you will stretch out your hands, and another will gird you and carry you where you do not wish. At some point, they're going to kill you, Peter. They're going to split your arms open and nail them down to a cross like they did for me. But in the meantime, follow me. Where I go, I want you to go. Come along, Peter. And if Jesus says this and he loves everybody else, we need to love everybody else. God is seeking those who will reflect Jesus to a lost world. We are to love like he loves, setting aside our personal feelings, ambitions, and preferences, and sometimes even our safety, if it's related to the kingdom. To help the lost as God helped us when we were rotten away in our sin. Next week, we get to why all this matters, why Peter's talking to us about this. Yes, we're perfecting. Yes, we're making the progress. But next week, we get to finish it up. And it's going to be a short lesson, so I got to pack it in real fast. But I promise you'll be good if you're going to be here for it. Either way, it is time for us to relax. I went a couple minutes over because love is so deep and so good, and I can't stop talking about it apparently. So you guys have a few less minutes to go refresh yourselves, use the restroom, greet one another, and come back ready for worship at 11. God bless you.